Hello, YouTubers. I'm making this video to touch on to something that a lot of preppers that I've noticed on YouTube haven't been looking into. Um, you've got a situation where they're planning for, they've got the food, they've got water, things stored back. And they might have some of the old tools to do certain things, like make butter and stuff like that, and apple butter, and know how to can and all that stuff. Well, that's all good. That's good stuff to learn. The issue is if something major happens, either solar flare, maybe not as bad on martial law, but major disaster, alien people are talking about, anything. Whatever would take to shut our economy down. Hell, even a virus, just a virus that, kills pretty efficiently, something like that can, a virus situation, people ain't going to want to go to work because they're afraid they're going to get sick and die. So, the infrastructure that we have is going to collapse. Nobody's going to go to work. Nobody's going to run the power stations. Nobody's going to run gas stations. And everything's just going to collapse. So it don't take a lot. People out here believe that, oh, nothing can ever change, blah, blah, blah. It's just going to continue forever, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that is constant is change. Nothing stays the same. Everything grows old. Everything decays, rots, dies, changes over time, improves, disapproves, crashes. It's normal. Look at all the civilizations in the past that have completely, went to greatness and then collapsed. Like Rome. Built itself up, became one of the great powers, and then collapsed. And, everybody, prepping is more than just getting food and supplies ready to withstand for a certain period of time and knowing how to garden and all that. You can manage doing that, but the issue is you're setting yourself back to 1800s life instead of holding on to some of the knowledge and technology that we have. It only would take 1, 2 generations at the most to completely lose everything that we've ever learned in our civilization. Science, how the stars and cosmos set up, atoms and all this other shit, how electric motors work, how gas motors work. Yeah, there'll be a few that holds on to the knowledge. It might even teach the knowledge to the next generation. But, if there ain't an established ability, then, if somebody don't teach the knowledge dies. So, what I'm saying is, it's smart and valuable to learn how things work. For multiple reasons. If you know how it works, then you have a better chance of fixing something if it tears up. If you know how to work on cars, and the car tears up, then you might be able to fix the car, unless it's a part that you can't replace because you can't find the part. Or you can't make the part. Let's see, that goes into the second part. Not knowing how things work and how to fix things is only part of the bigger puzzle. Some things that I would be interested in storing would be stuff to build an electric motor. Now, what all would you need to build an electric motor? Ball bearings, You know, you can pick up ball bearings at most Tractor Supply, Lowe's, stuff like that. You can pick up ball bearings. All right, metal, you know, tube, solid rods, stuff like that. You know, hell, plyboard, any wood, really, the wood that you can find in the woods you can use. You can build an electric motor, very simple, with ball bearings, some wood, magnets, and copper wire, you know, coated copper wire. Not like wire that you would have in your car, but it's like a solid strand wire. It's got like a really thin plastic resin-like stuff that's over top of it. It keeps it from grounding out against itself. It's the same stuff as you got in your electric motors, in your fans, alternator, anything like that. Storing that kind of stuff gives you the ability, and if you have the knowledge, even if you don't store it, it gives you the knowledge, if you study it and learn how to make them, it gives you the ability to build an electric motor or generator. Now, by having an electric motor or generator, then you give your ability to make power. Now, being able to do that gives you a little bit of an edge. You know, when everyone else is forgetting how to do it, you know how to do it. That means you can not only fix ones that are already made, you can make them or whatnot. Same situation with a battery. Learn how batteries are made. Hell, they had the Baghdad battery back in Egypt, which was a clay pot with two little terminals go in with a darn. They used like juice, high acidic juice. They made a battery. Learn how to make batteries. It's really useful because you can take that, couple it with the generator motor. You can turn the generator if you set when you build it right, and it will put power into the system, into the battery, and then you can use the power later to run whatever. It wouldn't be a bad idea to learn how light bulbs are made. Now, are you going to be able to make the perfect light bulb? Probably not. But, you know, even if you can't make them, like, you know, LED lights don't take much power. They last forever. The little LED setups. Hell, stockpile them damn things. Stockpile them little lights, the little LED lights, the LEDs. Stockpile a bunch of them. Hell, you can hook them up, build your little generator battery thing. Use like water, like out of a creek, build your paddle wheel. Learn how to build a paddle wheel. Do the studies and have the knowledge. The knowledge is the best tool you can ever have. Because the Indians could go out in the woods pretty much with nothing. It wasn't sensible, but they could if they had to. They had carried things with them, of course. But they could go out in the woods with pretty much nothing and build everything in the woods. They could build their knife. They could build a fire. They could build their shelter. They could build everything they needed to survive. They could build bowls, spoons, everything in the woods with what nature provided. You know. And, you know, like with my bug out bag situation, yes, all that stuff can be useful. That's stuff that you can carry that saves you from having to make something in the woods. But I also have the knowledge to use natural materials to build equipment if I need it. Because just because I carry it in don't mean I'm going to have it forever. Something could break. I could lose it. Fall off my belt or out of my bag. You know, I might be at camp, get ambushed or something, and have to get out of there quick. Can't grab my shit. You know, it's all sorts of possibilities. And you've got to think of these possibilities, because if you don't, you're going to end up being in a situation where you're going to be in the woods with none to very little gear for whatever reason. Maybe you might be chased by a bear or something. Depends on your area. But, you know, you might be in a situation that you don't have your gear. And if you don't know how to make a flint knife, or a flint axe, or build a bow drill to start a fire, or find natural tinder materials in the woods and all that, then you're going to be in trouble. You ain't going to be able to build what you need to move on. So that's something that you need to look into, something to study about. Me, I've been studying different things. I've studied how the old way of doing things is. Plus, I also studied how electric motors work, how generators work, how, you know, a lot of it I might not be able to build. I might not be able to, I can't go out here and mine, you know, iron out of the darn ground and shit and smelt it. I do know how to blacksmith. I do know how to smelt. So I can take any scrap metal I can come across and make it into something else. I do know how to melt aluminum down and cast it using sand casting techniques and different things to cast it into objects that I need or want. You know, so I have the knowledge to do all that shit. I know how to build the molds. I know how to build the furnaces to do blacksmithing or to melt down metals and different things. Another thing I know how to make methanol. You know, alcohol-based fuels that will run a gas motor. Takes a little tweaking, unless you have a mixed bread, you know, where it'll do gas or ethanol. I can make ethanol. Currently, it's illegal because it's basically moonshine, what it is. But you know, I can do it. I know how to do it. I live in Tennessee. Over in Pigeon Forge and stuff, they've got a steel. You can go right in and watch them make it. You know, there's plenty of YouTube videos of people doing it and shit. You can learn how to do it. The key's looking. I know how to make biodiesel. So if I'm in a situation, I have a diesel vehicle, I need to get fuel for it. You know, I ain't going out here and trying to dig up the damn gas station and try to get gas from that. You know, I know how to do it. There's ways of doing it, but you got to learn how to do. You ain't going down there with a hose and start sucking the darn fuel out. It ain't going to work that easy. And if it does work, you ain't going to get a lot. So I know how to do these things. You know, I'm also a very creative person. I'm a problem solver. I have common sense. I can look at a problem and figure out how to do it. I had an old truck. They didn't even sell brake kits for it. You couldn't even buy the drums for the brakes to replace them. Drum busted on me. I couldn't go find one. So I done the next best thing. I made a complete disc brake conversion for the truck. From scratch. Well, not completely from scratch. I used parts from different vehicles and different things and made what parts I needed to make. But the brakes worked. Didn't have a better problem with it. Drove the truck for a while. No problems out of that. So, you know, being able to figure out and knowing certain knowledge gives you the ability to go beyond primitive knowledge and gives you the ability to better your situation. Now, yes, you can live with oil lamps and wax candles and, you know, live like, you know, 1800s, you know, prehistoric man if you want, you know. That's what you want to do, go for it. But, you know, a little bit of electricity or being able to make natural gas, which I do know how to make that, it gives you abilities to use technology that we already have that we don't have in the future, because if you ain't got an infrastructure building the stuff, if you can't do it, you know, there's a chance you ain't going to buy it other than using stuff that's already around, and eventually that stuff's going to break. And if you can't fix it, you can't move on, then you're in trouble. Well, my video's getting long. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, leave comments. God bless, and thank you.